Well, hello there. So today what we're going to be talking about is what I keep close by within reach of my sewing machine pretty much at all times. Because you know what, I spend some time here in this chair, so it's kind of nice to be able to have everything so close by. So I get a lot of comments. Every now and then I do get comments where people are asking me specifically, like, what am I using for thread? What am I using for needles? So this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. Well, I guess a good place to start would be with the sewing machine itself. So what I have been using lately, the last few years, is a Juki, and the model is LU-2810. So this a nice feature of this machine here is that it has the extended long arm, which makes it really nice for me to roll up my materials and feed it through here. It's a lot easier than what I'd been using for the last 38 years, was a shorter arm, which is pretty much standard with industrial sewing machines. And I found that this here, as I'm getting closer to retirement, I wanted to make things easier for me. So it really is easier. It's very nice to have all that extra room there. Next are the scissors that I use. I do use a few different types of scissors, but for cutting the thread on my sewing machine, just to cut my threads, and sometimes trim away the materials. This is a Fisker's Razor Edge. I think I bought these at one of the home craft stores. And they've been working pretty well. They were really nice and sharp when I first started out, and they're still doing the job. And that's what I use for scissors. And I grab this one here next. So what we need is sewing machine oil. So sewing machine oil keeps your machine running really nice and well oiled, like a well oiled machine. And you know what? That's really the only maintenance that I've ever really done to my sewing machines is make sure that they're oiled. The last one lasted me, like I say, 38 years. And over time, I really did just wear it out. That's why I had to replace it. But anyway, sewing machine oil. Now to go along with the sewing machine are my needles. So I bought a lot of needles because I got tired of running out of needles. So I just bought this whole pack right here. So this is a 135 by 17 needle. And I use this for everything. Everything that I use, I never change a needle. Sometimes people are asking me, well, do you change needles for threads? That answer would be no. I use this needle for everything. So now for marking, the most common thing that I would probably use is white chalk. So the white chalk that I use for a lot of things is like white chalk, like you'd use on a chalkboard. So you have white, and you also have yellow. This is what the yellow looks like right here. So I don't use the yellow as often because this yellow actually has some kind of a dye in it. If you're marking a white vinyl with yellow chalk, this yellow chalk won't come off of the white vinyl. It'll still leave a yellow mark on there. Warning. Next is my Sharpie China markers. Okay, so that's what these look like. And I use these a lot because they mark up on just about anything. And it won't wipe away as easily as it would with white chalk. And it's going to be more accurate because it's got a finer tip. So I clean this off with mineral spirits when I'm done. So when I'm marking pleats or I'm just marking up vinyl or whatever, this is what probably my number one go-to right here. Now for precision marking, I will use my black or blue or even red sometimes Sharpie pen. It's a permanent ink marker, has a very fine tip. So if you're going to mark something that is never going to be seen, this is what I use. Like if I'm drawing out patterns, or if I am marking for my little hash marks for references, I will use something like this if I know it's not going to be seen. And that works just fine. So now I'm asking you to like this video, because when you like this video, it gives the opportunity for other people to see this video. You know that I almost never ever ask for subscribers, right? Because for me, subscribers are not as important as the likes and the thumbs up. Okay, because it's the thumbs up and the likes that are going to get introduce new people to these videos. So with your help, please like. And now for cutting. Okay, I do have some cutting tools that I have here. So you're going to say, well, what the heck is he doing with those? So I use a hacksaw blade. I have videos on my hacksaw blades for cutting foam. Some of the viewers, they think that I'm crazy. They're like, okay, well, what's he doing with that thing? But anyway, I think that they work very well for cutting foam. You can check out those videos. Next is Lucille. This is Lucille the box cutter. So what's unique about Lucille the box cutter is she's not a box cutter anymore, although she could be used as one. What I do is I take this blade and I take my grinder. I take the grinder to the edge of this blade here and I rough it up. So I make it a serrated edge on both sides here. You can see it, and I've been using it for a while. So anyway, what this does is this cuts all my threads to take my panels apart so I can make patterns. Like if I'm taking a seat apart or something, it doesn't harm, I shouldn't say really, it doesn't harm the materials or the thread if you're careful enough, but it does annihilate the threads, okay, to take things apart. So that's Lucille, the box cutter, and my hacksaw blade here. And next is what I've been calling for years a hook tool, because it's got a hook on the end. You know, fish hooks also have that same shape, but people, I get corrected in comments all the time, they call it a cotter pin tool. So anyway, Harbor Freight started making these little tools like this. And I guess that's how they became known as, is a cotter pin tool. So what I use it for is I use it here on my machine. When I go to change my thread, it helps me grab the thread. Instead of trying to grab it with my fingers like this, I grab it with this tool. Same thing when I'm loading a bobbin. Instead of me pulling out the thread with my fingers, I just simply hook it, and it makes life a lot easier. And now for bobbins. Okay, so I get a lot of comments about bobbins. So my machine is a top load bobbin. Some other machines are a side load bobbin. So you go underneath the table to load the side load. You slide back a cover here for top load. Okay, so my machine here takes M bobbins. They're like a medium-sized bobbin. Actually, it's supposed to have a U bobbin, which is even bigger than this, but nobody has them. So I'm kind of stuck with using the smaller M bobbins. So they're pre-wound. I get people asking me if I wind my own bobbins and what size thread I use for my bobbins. Okay, so these pre-wounds, they have the 92 size thread right there. Okay, same as the top thread right here. So I use two colors. I use beaver and I use black for everything I do. Okay, I never wind bobbins like say with a blue thread. Okay, I just never done that. And I don't see a reason to. And even when it comes to beaver or black, you know, the whole idea is that you're not going to see the bottom thread, right? You're only going to see the top thread. But you're going to see I have two different sizes here. This is for the old machine that I used for those 38 years. I still had, because you can order a lot of these, I still have some of these left over. So I've just been going through these smaller bobbins. they also work on the machine. It doesn't matter. You can see the two sizes right there. So this is a D bobbin, this is an M bobbin, and what it is it's the capacity of the casing right there. So this one here holds more thread than this one does. That's really the only difference. And now for thread. Okay, so as you can see here, there's several colors of thread. You can get all colors. Okay, so what I use is, for most top threads, is I try to come close to whatever the item is that I'm working on. Like say if it was a light gray boat seat cover, I might want to use this light gray top thread. Okay, and what's really popular now is a lot of people, they like to go with contrasting thread colors. So say if I still had that same light gray vinyl, but if they wanted to go with say a red thread, top thread there, or a blue top thread, you know, I always give them that choice. And you know, some people might say, okay, you can nickel and dime them and you can charge more, right, for contrasting thread. But if you really think about it, the thread doesn't cost any more. This one here costs the same amount as this one here. Okay, and it's the same amount of work. There's no difference in the labor involved, so I never charge them more for contrasting thread. And sure, it takes a little more skill to make a contrasting thread straighter and look better than it does for a matching color thread. But you know what? That's on us, right? That's our ability to be accurate and to have that kind of a skill. So now for spool size. Okay, so you can see there's 3 different sizes here, right? Do the shell game, right? Anything under there? Anything under there? Okay, got 3 sizes sitting right here. So this one here on the bottom, it is marked as 4 ounces. So this is a 4-ounce spool of thread. This one here is an 8-ounce spool of thread. This one here is a 1 pound or 16-ounce spool of thread. So that's how I usually buy them. If it's a not real common color and I don't need a whole lot of it, I might get a smaller spool. But a more common thread like beaver, black, or white, I'm gonna go for the large one. Okay, so that way you're not having to replace them so often. So now for thread size. So what I usually use is a bonded nylon or polyester thread, which you can see here in the upper left corner. It does say 92. So 92 is the size. And 92 is what I use for everything. Okay, I never change the size of the thread. And it's pretty funny that up until the time I started making YouTube videos a couple years ago, I never thought about thread size. If I knew I needed a color from my supplier, I just went over there and picked one off the shelf, because this is what they sell, is a 92 thread size. So I never paid attention to that. I just said, oh, give me that blue one, give me that black one, whatever. But after I got my YouTube channel, I started getting the questions, and I actually had to look at the bottom of this here to see what size it was, believe it or not. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Okay, been doing this for 44 years and didn't know what thread size I was using. Okay, so it turns out that I am using the 92 thread size. Okay, that's just the regular top thread for assembling or doing top stitches and all that kind of stuff. And next is the heavy contrast thread. So you'll see right there in the left corner there, it says T270. So that's the thread size. So you can see also here where it says contrast. So that's the color right there as an example. But what that is that's the heavier thread for doing top stitches. Like if you want to do a heavy contrasting top stitch color on something custom, maybe you want to sew some diamonds into a vinyl or leather seat. This is probably what you'd want to use, something like that. So until next time, we'll see ya.